Hello, how friends, welcome to the channel. This video's got two intros. This is the one I've done after the video, because I thought I should do. This is kind of like a rambling video about, I know people, whenever I review a game, people go, oh, it's not a review, you're just sitting there rambling for 30 minutes. Well, that's what this video is, essentially. It's my thoughts on the game. I don't call it a review in a video, but I just wanted to say that it is a bit of this is just a ramble about Wurm. And if that's not what you're looking for, although I think I do have some points, maybe, I don't know. But if it's not what you're looking for, move on. Here's the actual real intro coming up right now. Hello friends, welcome to the channel, Bob here. And I thought I would do this. I thought we'd do this video as I'm kind of coming to, I think probably for the moment, unless things change drastically, kind of coming to the end of my Wurm content journey anyway. I've still got a fair amount of time on my deed from when I initially started the game. Although I did abandon my deed and I've started a new one, but I'll go through all that. Yeah, but I'm kind of feel like I'm coming to the end from a content point of view anyway. Although I'll keep casually plugging away to see if things change. I thought I would just do a summing up on Wurm and what I've found as a new player. Yeah, and let's do that. So there is a Halloween-y thing going on at the moment. As you can see, my character is currently a skeleton, and I got this nice helmet. And there are some Halloween-type things going on. But that's not the important thing. As I said in the intro, I'm kind of coming towards the end of... Well, I think it's probably my last content on Wurm. Unless things change in the time that my deed is still running. I've changed my deed. I moved my deed, as you can see. I was just roaming, wandering, looking for animals, and I came across this location where there was nothing. There are roads starting to encroach. I kind of feel like one of those cottagey old people who live in a picturesque spot and all their life's great, but then they start moaning about houses being built nearby for people that don't have a home. That's how I feel with this road starting to expand here. Yeah, but anyway... I found this spot and I liked it. It's weird, like when I found this spot, it was snowing, it was winter. But now it's not winter anymore. I don't quite know what's happened. I'm not sure if they turned winter on early, or if I've got a bug or if it was just a passing snowstorm. I'm not sure, but it's not winter anymore. But anyway, yeah, this is my current location. Yeah, and this is where I moved to D2 because I like the view and there seems to be stuff going on. So in the last video, I think you probably remember that I was talking about animals and stuff and the issues that I was having, kind of doing one of the key things in the game that I wanted to do, and looking into it a bit more, talking to, like, reading comments on the videos. I spoke to a couple of people in game about it. There's even a thread actually about it on the official forums, and it seems as though that's life in Wurm on a new server. It's weird because like a couple of people said to me, well, it's like a community, it's an MMO, why are you playing MMOs on your own, blah blah blah, all that kind of rubbish. Sandbox game, or any game, you should be able to play exactly how you want, you know, as long as you understand limitations. And I think I've found the limitations of Wurm in regards to that. But it seems as though the process seems to be, from what I can tell, and this has happened before, it's like a cycle that kind of keeps repeating itself, is that a new server opens, older experienced players go to that new server because they want that experience of starting again. They're allowed to do that. They know what to do, and in a fairly short space of time, from an animal point of view anyway, the server just feels old again. Someone said to me that you'll just find that people will go around hoovering up everything, and in a short space of time there isn't anything left for like maybe newer or more or less experienced players. And I'm standing here. Since I've been here, I've kind of been witness to that. I mean, I've tried to do it myself unsuccessfully because, yeah, the biology doesn't work, which I'll explain. But yeah, I've seen people on horses, like groups of people, even like, you know, walking around, and they're all leading like 2 animals each, all that kind of stuff. And yeah, and that seems to be how it works. And to go back to the community thing, you know, people talking about it as a community, and you should get involved in a in a community in the game. Well, I mean, I do agree, and it's not that I'm against that, but I personally don't find it particularly community spirited for for experienced players to come onto a new server, and because they know what they're doing, hoover up all the animals, and then you're kind of in a situation where you have to buy animals from them because there isn't anything there for you to breed. And that's like where the biology stuff comes into, which I'll get to in a minute. And it's fine if you come into the game and you don't mind, say you bought some silver from the store, you don't mind buying a horse from them, for example. And I understand that that's capitalism, that's how it works. The game has just been designed, well, it probably wasn't designed that way originally, but obviously the experienced players have got this system, where they start a new server, they create these massive horse markets, take everything, nothing left for anyone else, and people then have to buy from them if they want animals. And as I said, that's how the game allows you to do that. So great, fine. But that doesn't feel very community spirited. I understand that maybe these more experienced players have got into a cycle of just doing it, and it's like second nature. Maybe they're not thinking about the impact they're having as a whole. And I could go and buy some horses from someone for silver, but I don't want to do that. I don't want to I don't want to cross the palms of Wurm's version of Roman Abramovich or Richard Branson with silver, because they're just doing what they've always done, and it does seem like it's a repeat cycle. And I don't want to do that. The other thing as well is that to do it, you kind of got to buy silver from the store. It's not even as though like when you kind of do Wurm's version of subscription. From what I can tell, you don't get any in-game currency. I mean, even Shroud of the Avatar gave you that. If you subscribe to Shroud of the Avatar every month, you get some, kotos. So even they do that. But here, I even as a subscriber, I think you've still got to buy silver. I mean, in all the time I've played, I've found a bit of coinage, but it's just like bronze stuff. So I'm not really sure if you actually get that much coin in the game. So you then got to go and buy it from the store, which again is not. I mean, you know me, I always talk about supporting games that you play, and I have obviously subscribed to this previously. To be like a subscriber, as it were. You don't even really get any benefits. You get a potion once a month, I think, that increases your skill gain for an hour. And obviously you're kind of caught in this thing also with silver, where even as a subscriber, there's certain things you can't do if you're not a subscriber. But then even as a subscriber, to do those things like increasing your D plot and paying monthly and all that kind of thing, you need to then buy silver. And I guess that's kind of why you get these experienced players who come to a new server and build up these markets, because I guess they then use the money for silver from the markets to pay their deed and maybe their subscription and all that kind of thing. But I do feel that once you've done it a few times, it's I think maybe it gets a bit much. And as I said, I don't that doesn't seem to me to be particularly community spirited to do that. But then maybe you're just unaware of the impact that you're having, maybe new players. And I'm sure, and I know that some of it is to do with me, because I'm not willing to give those players silver for animals. I'm not going to go onto the store, buy silver for real cash, and then give it to these players who just keep repeating this cycle of stuff. And I'm not talking. I mean, I'm a new player, but I'm not talking without any experience. I'm not speaking about these things without any experience. I've literally spent hours and hours and hours trying to get myself going. And I've just found it impossible, and I'll kind of just show you why in a second. But I think just to sum up, developers have allowed a situation to develop where a new server comes out and it's probably the same players every time, maybe not every time, but it's probably the same players who do it, where the experienced players they will move to a new server and kind of start again and start their drive towards being the next Mr. T. I'm not going to say his name because sometimes videos seem to be getting banned for that kind of thing. But yeah, the driver to be the next Mr. DT. And as I said, the game allows you to do that, and it's fine. But I'm surprised that the developers. I'm surprised that this cycle has not been broken in some way, so that new players or inexperienced players can experience for the first time, what it's like to actually be on a server where it is truly new. Because like it wasn't, and I'm going back a few weeks now, well, longer than that, to when I kind of first started to try and do this. Yeah, I mean, it's been like this for weeks and weeks, where there's hardly anything about from an animal point of view. Now, somebody mentioned on one of the videos that it's weird that there's a game where there's nothing to do. Well, there is plenty to do, but if you're interested in the animal side of things, animal taming, husbandry, breeding, all that kind of stuff, you're kind of buggered, unless you want to pay some, unless you want to give other players some silver, which you may have to buy from the store. So let's talk about kind of why that's happening. This, as I said, this is my new deed. Why it's happening is I've just explained why it's happening. Whether you think that's good or not, whether you think because the game allows you to do that, players should have the right to do it, or if you feel that maybe we should be looking at it differently, to encourage new players to have that same experience, then I don't know. That's only a decision for you to make. But yeah, anyway, what you'll notice is I do have some animals on my ranch fence here. What happened recently, it seems as though for Halloween there was some spawns of lots of Halloweeny type monsters, and in amongst those there seems to have been some other animals as well. But the problem is, as you'll see, is that, and I'm not sure if I'm missing something here, but all of I've got all these sheep that I went and rounded up, but all of them are male. They're all rams, and my cows are male, and that's all I've been able to find is bulls and rams. I found one horse that was old. It died because it was so old, but it was a male. And I'm wondering if what actually happens is that the experienced players only go around and get animals. They'll round up the females, but they'll only round up the amount of males that they need to breed, essentially. And I'm assuming that males can breed with more than one female, so that's probably what's happening here. So all I've been able to find is males. I haven't seen one female sheep. So I haven't seen any sheep. I haven't seen any cows, and I haven't seen any female horses. It's been all males. I've got a couple of pigs. They're both male. So that's kind of the point that I've reached, and I did actually find an old male horse, as I said, but it died quite quickly. It was old, not through neglect. It had plenty to eat, and it was, the description was it was strong and whatnot up until the point where it just died of old age, I guess. But I couldn't find a female, and even if I did, it was the fact that this horse was available. Was it because it was so old it wouldn't be able to breed? It wouldn't be able to breed anyway. I don't know. But yeah, so that's kind of where my journey has come to a stop with on Wurm. I even moved my D to a different location, surrounded by wilderness and forests, where I thought I might have more luck finding finding some animals. But yeah, I did find some. I think these these weren't around here before, and when I logged in the other day, there was some spread about, but they were all male. So yeah, I guess the females are the ones that get rounded up and taken to the paddocks, and it's a bit disappointing. And the thing is as well is that this game is not designed to be played without a horse. You can play without a horse. I'm not saying you can't, but anyone who says, "Oh, it's great, I love playing without a horse," I don't believe you. Owning a horse and being able to ride around on a horse is game changing. It takes all the tedium out of walking slowly forwards to your destination, trying to run away from monsters and dying. It makes all of that tedium much more manageable, and it obviously makes exploring and searching for things much more manageable as well, as I found with my short period with a horse. And so actually, although I was saying that there is plenty of game that you can do if you're not interested in the animal things, you need a horse, because it just makes things so much more easier to get around and do all the stuff that, I guess, it's one of those game mechanics where everything's made tedious unless you use the thing that makes it much less tedious. It's made tedious on purpose, so you get a horse where things become a lot less tedious. So as I said, that's kind of where I've reached with well, I mean, it's interesting. Like I'm finding that I struggle. I'll admit, maybe some of it's to do with me. But I'm coming into these sandbox MMOs particularly and struggling with them because I'm not saying it's not partly my fault, but maybe also I'm looking at it from a fresh perspective, and I'm thinking, well, why are the developers allowing this to happen? It makes no sense. And in this case, I think to myself, why would the developers create a new server and say to new players, come and there's a new server for a new experience, but then the older players come over, and because they know what they're doing, in many ways the server just feels old again, and those new players are maybe not getting the experience that they were looking for, and maybe they're kind of missing an experience that they weren't even aware of, because they're new players. I don't know why the developers haven't come up with a new server and come up with a way that maybe gives new players that experience. I mean, even if there wasn't any mechanical way they could do it, maybe you could just create a server and say, look, experienced dudes and dudesses, like we've created 2 or 3 new servers. Like, you guys go on this new server if you want to repeat your experience again, but avoid this server where we'll just have new players on, because that's kind of what we want. We want them to have that experience. Maybe they don't. Maybe their business model is built around new servers coming out and experienced players going to a new server with a new character, maybe spending more money in the cash shop for silver to start a new deed and all that kind of stuff. I'm not sure. But anyway, what I'm going to finish on, but that's kind of my summing up of Wurm, and my summing up of kind of older and new retro sandbox MMOs in general, is that they kind of almost feel like they're designed for the community they've currently got. Keep those people happy, which I can understand to a certain extent, but you're not really going to expand that. I don't think. I'm not sure. I know that with the Steam release, Wurm got a lot of new players coming in, but I think the key is how long those players stay around. I'm my enthusiasm now is quite always at rock bottom, really. We'll go wandering off in this direction into the wilderness and just maybe lay down and die. That might be the way to go. But it's a disappointing end, and I feel that it's an end that I feel that it's a situation that probably could have been remedied in the past. I think opening a new server and saying that experienced characters can't bring their fully formed character onto it kind of leads me to believe that I might as well follow the road. At least I'm not walking like a snail. It kind of leads me to believe that they want things to start afresh, but what they don't seem to be taking into account is that there are some players out there that are so experienced now, they know what to do exactly when a new server comes out. And I'm surprised they haven't gone further to try to achieve or recreate that feeling of like newness on a server. I suppose the only thing now is that, I mean, you still need, I feel that you still need a horse, and you still need but at least, I mean, like before Halloween, there weren't any monsters around even. It was barren. There was nothing at all. I was thinking, well, what's happening here? Why is there nothing here? So at least with how with Halloween, it seems as though it has spawned some new monsters. So at least if you're into PvE, there's something for you to kill. Oh my God! Look, hang on a second. Old pig. I was about to say, am I about to eat my words? Because I've just found a female pig. But she is old again, so I've got no idea. Is she there because she's old and she can't breed? I'm not sure. I think that might be the case. If any experienced players can, yeah, suggest that may not be the case, then that's fine. But I will take her back for now, and then what I'll probably actually do as my last. What I'll probably actually do is build a pen for her and one of the males. Yeah, and see if anything happens with regards to that. I'm not sure. I think that's kind of what I was trying to say just in the previous paragraph, is that like Wurm is such a complex game that you're at such a big advantage as an experienced player, kind of as you should be. I'm not saying that you shouldn't be, but what I'm saying is that I definitely feel that developers should be able to come up with a system where a server feels like a new experience, at least for a period of time, you know, not a matter of weeks. A venerable pig, an aged pig. I'm not sure what. Oh, is venerable the oldest? I think aged sounds like it might be the youngest. I'll have a check on the wiki later. But I'll come and build a pen. Okay, miss. We'll see what happens later. This is what's quite soul crushing. Is the feeling that I'm not going to buy a horse from someone, but this is so tedious. I you know, and the thing is as well is that when you kind of discover something about the game that, well, you're kind of not getting the experience you want. It's like anything, you know. You then start to the small things that maybe that were slightly annoying but didn't really annoy you before start to annoy you even more. Like why is this is step. Looks quite firm ground. Why is my character walking so much slower than on a path? I'm pretty sure that I could run along this part at a very similar speed to what I could run along this part in real life. Maybe a bit slower, depending on how soft it was. But yeah, the walking just seems purposely tedious. I don't think I'm missing a sprint option. I don't know why my character can't run. As I said, it's all those little things where you eventually start to annoy you that maybe didn't annoy you before. Key bindings, movement. Yeah, it's got auto run, but auto run is basically just auto walk. Yeah. Well, he runs when he goes downhill, but I don't understand why he's not capable of running. I mean, actually, the move. Maybe it's just because he looks like he's walking. Maybe they should change the animation. Because 12 kilometers an hour, that's not a bad movement speed, is it? Generally, but it just looks like he's walking, so it feels slower. So maybe the game needs a walk-run animation. I'm not sure. I think I'll probably have to avoid that. Looks like a big spider up there. Yeah, that's too big. It seems like the pigs turn into pumpkins. And my horse, before it died, was a skeleton horse. Yeah, I mean, I'd certainly be interested to hear what you think about it. I mean, I'm sure there'll be people out there who feel that I'm being overly harsh for various reasons. One of those might be the fact that the players are just doing what the game allows you to do, you know, which I do understand, but for a new player, it's not really, it's not really much fun. It's not even as though I can get involved in PvE too much, because if you can kind of get the experience you're looking for, I feel that you're, you know, like for me, who would like to go and do some PvP stuff, I think to myself, well, that will come at some point. But now I'm kind of thinking to myself, well, like the animal side of it and the PvE side of it were two of the reasons. Look at the size of that troll. Were two of the reasons I came into the game. The animal side of it's turning out to be player driven to a point, to too much in my opinion, to a point where as a new player I'm finding it almost impossible to get involved unless I buy stuff. But the PvE side of it, it's so slow raising your skills and whatnot that getting to a point where you can then go out and PvE is a big task, which I might have let happen naturally if I could have done the other stuff that I wanted to do, but because I can't, then there's a young ram again, but it's a ram again, you see, an old ram. I'm assuming, I mean, I'm not sure if I'm correct. I'm assuming that people just leave leave the males. They only take what they want, but they take all the females. I'm assuming that's what looks like it's happening to me. So I kind of feel that an adolescent ram. He's well defined. Could use some grooming, but that's fine. I'm assuming that adolescent's quite a good age to find one at. But what do I do with it? Eventually, he'll just get old and die because there's nothing for him to breed with. He will have no offspring. And this is I'm not sure if anyone can confirm that, but that seems to be what's happening. Yeah. But anyway, there you go. I'm going to stop the video now because I've done enough rambling. I kind of just wanted to sum up, really, my experiences with Wurm and how it kind of just feels that it's disappointingly coming to a close when my deed silver runs out that I paid for. It's weird because like with Wurm, I don't even really feel like I got my money's worth. And that's coming from someone who will buy a game for full price if they want it, you know. And as you know, if you've been experienced with the channel, I'm a firm believer in supporting developers. But the money that I've spent on Wurm, I don't even feel, because progress is so slow and it takes so long to get anywhere, I don't even feel like I've really got my money's worth because, I'm finding it impossible to do one of the key things that I wanted to do. And maybe it's me, you know, maybe you're looking at this thinking this is just your problem, Bob, nothing to do with the game, and that's fine. I will accept that if that is the case. But anyway, yes, thanks for watching, and I'll speak to you again soon.